First thing I want to do is just really to pay tribute to Natasha O'Brien. You are an inspirational individual, really inspirational to hundreds of thousands, millions of people across this country. You didn't have to intervene to stop the homophobic abuse. Lots of people didn't. Lots of people would just walk on, but you chose to do it. You were then subject to a savage assault by someone who was supposedly there to defend us as a member of the Defence Forces. That injustice was then compounded by another massive injustice done by the so-called justice system, refusing to give a prison sentence to the man who did it, and then the patronising words of the judge saying that you should be happy that he had pleaded guilty. It would have been completely understandable that at that point you said, I've had enough of this, I'm not going to get any justice, I'm not going to speak out anymore, but instead you put yourself on the front line repeatedly to speak out about it in a way that is just so impressive and can change the conversation around this. We shouldn't have a system where Natasha or Bláthnaid Raleigh or anyone else feels the need to speak out. We shouldn't have to put themselves in that position to fight for justice, but unfortunately we do. We live in a deeply patriarchal, sexist society of which gender-based violence and murder is at the extreme expression of that, but not the only expression of that. This patriarchy has deep roots in our society, that's the truth. Capitalism didn't invent patriarchy, it took it up from feudalism, but then it moulded it to its own purposes in terms of using the free labour of women, predominantly in the home, and the underpaid labour of women in the workplace. It's why we need a movement led by people like Natasha, like Bláthnaid, like many, many others, to fight to uproot this sexist and patriarchal society that we have. Final point I want to make is just about the Defence Forces and the Gardaí. I don't think it's too much to ask that there shouldn't be people who are convicted of violent crimes, assault or other violent crimes in our Defence Forces or in our Gardaí, in positions of power and authority. I think that is a very, very simple ask. I think it's bizarre that some people who set themselves up as kind of defenders of the Defence Forces are saying that they're offended by that call being made. That isn't a slur on the vast, vast majority of members of the Defence Forces or any other position of authority who obviously have nothing to do with this whatsoever. It is targeted at those who are responsible. I want to make the point that this also extends to the Guards. I'm aware of a currently serving Guard who was convicted of an assault on December the 11th, 2019, punching someone repeatedly in the face, who continues to serve as a member of the Gardaí.